not have a party. He has a choice of a party. But he is pointing at the actions that we are taking. The host has moved on to also buttress and says, can we be people of action? Blaming or find something to blame for a person who has been taken by a government you don't like on the cause of demonstrating against not wanting it is failure to recognize what you are standing for yourself. Refining how you should take the action is being misguided. Some would take, I will refer now to the liberation struggle. Some would leave school for training. Some would leave school for college education. Some would go and take the gun. All were in the liberation struggle. All needed one another at some stage. And that is exactly what we should be doing. We should have a farmer, a big farmer, who is going to dedicate his granary to feed people who are marching in the streets when the struggle is required. Some will have money to pay doctors to treat people who are beaten by the government while they are in the struggle. So the thinking is an action. Let's be biased towards an action. What we need to do in this struggle is not to criticize an action that's in the direction of the liberation, the direction that takes down the oppressor. If there is supposed to be unit, I will not replace Dr. Tadin's words or presentation. It's the time we should have it. Sometimes freedom remembers a juncture. It remembers time. If you don't take action when the time is available, you may not get it for more years. We could have gotten our freedom in 2017. We lost the opportunity. It went away the wrong direction. People of Zimbabwe were not supposed to leave the streets even after Mugabe went until ZANU-PF was not in place.
Anodio,
Yes.
try and bring it to a landing in the next minute.
Okay. And I think I wouldn't want to digress with my point. But I am saying at every stage, if you can get an opportunity to mobilize masses to get critical numbers, use it to get your freedom and define your purpose. The leadership of opposition in 2017 was supposed to take the momentum and say Mugabe is gone. Now we want a credible government. They would not have gone to bed. They would not have even relaxed. That is exactly when Geza came. People were supposed to flood the streets. ZANU-PF would have thought that this is Geza's movement, but it would have turned to be Zimbabwean movement. But because leadership is selfish enough to think it must be done by them, opportunities come and go. I will not be supporting Geza, but I will be supporting the removal of ZANU-PF. And I will do everything to be present for that removal of a regime that I don't like. Until the oppressor says, understand, I am in the office. Can we talk? What do you want? You raise the stakes high until the oppressor loses the numbers. People go, people support movements that are bent on liberating them. Nothing short of that, people will be full of inaction. I thank you.
No, thank you very much. I think, as always, settle but very clear sentiments. I'm not going to comment on those. I'll let the other folks jump in. But I think it was essential, especially after the other conversation before that. Zimbabwe 24, please go ahead. Then I see my brother Dobbs. Then I see Gig. Is it Gig? Yeah, Gig. Then, yeah, so let's do that.
How are you? Tadini, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, my brother.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to say to my brother who was speaking before me that it's not true that a resistant become successful because of numbers. It's not about numbers. It's about quality of the numbers that we have. Organized people. Then I want to use that to support the point that was made by Ndumiso. A demonstration can't be successful because you have just decided to participate. It becomes successful if it is planned and it is done by organized people. Madzibaba was trapped. I'll add on what Ndumiso was saying. Was trapped to join Geza. Geza he called the demonstration to remove the president. Like the people that had the backing of the military, which we didn't see. We didn't see that, but that what was the talk on the street. Then Matsbaba, maybe as a human being, get lowered in such things. It's unfortunate that is behind the bars because of Geza. That was a factional battle within ZANU-PF, which is nothing to do with the opposition. We have to be clear on that. Geza tried also to use the prominent opposition's name to say, I spoke to this one. When the main opposition leader said, I'm not part of this thing, Matsbaba was supposed to listen to if he still believed in his leader, was supposed to be disciplined. When your leader turn left, you don't turn right. You have to listen to your leader. That's what organized people do. You don't just jump in because there's a protest and expect that the process will be successful. Again, Geza, the resistance that was called by Geza, it was violent because one, you are chucking in the military, mentioning the military. There's something that happened before that protest where it's a night before where there was a burning of cars. They wake up in the morning saying, people were with Geza saying, we saw what we did. It's
Zimbabwe,
it,
I'll give
yeah,
you a minute. I've been struggling in my mind whether I want to continue to hear your misrepresentation of information, but I'm gonna give you a minute. That's when your clock runs to 4 minutes.
exactly.
Please do.
We saw the burning of cars before the demonstration. People who were working with Geza claiming it, telling us that you saw what happened. Then you go and participate in such a process. You are being trapped in, then you get arrested. The protest was the protest peaceful? No, because those who called for that protest, they claimed the burning of cars that happened in the DG various offices. That's why I said protest is not about numbers, it's about the organized people who understand. If this thing is violent, you don't participate in it because
Yeah,
you'll be arrested.
thank you very
You'll be
much.
arrested.
Yeah, thank you very much, Zimbabwe. Unfortunately, I have to comment on this one, guys, because there's a lot of misinformation there. Protest, you can protest Uriwana Reg. We saw that in Itaidzama. Write posters, write flyers, and people don't attend, and you still protest. If you find yourself arrested or what happened with Itaidzamara missing to up to this day, it doesn't mean that you are not organized, you did not do anything right, and you should have waited for the rest of the nation's conscience to catch up with you. That is an absolute lie. The majority of the people that have sparked the revolutions that liberated Africa actually had to do it themselves before anyone else joined. They organized in very small groups. Some of them died before those groups even saw themselves grow into anything that is large. In Zimbabwe, we have too many examples of that nature. Like I said, Itai Dzamara protested, Ari Ega, one-man protest, Ari Pa Unity Square for a very, very long time. The famous writer what's her name? I'm forgetting her name. It will come back. She would protest walking from her home to Harare to town, and she would still give out flyers. So if we now start to analyze how people engaged in exercising their right and then saying this is why they find themselves in this predicament, we are doing a disfavor to ourselves. If we also start to say people should not protest or participate in demonstrations, which is exercising Section 59 of the Constitution, because someone at some day bent something, and therefore those two things are connected, and a likelihood that they would also be a violence, we are also shooting ourselves in the foot. Because what that essentially means is, iwewe favorite wako mangwana akati ndakuita portrait, all ZANU-PF needs to do the night before is to bend tires and claim that they are opposition. And that does not work. You cannot be arrested for a thought crime. You can't be arrested because we are assuming that what you're going to do is going to be similar to what was done by another group that was never identified or captured, for that matter. Mazbabai Shanduro participated in what every citizen has the right to do, something that we here are already doing. I told you that Mazbabai Shanduro said, I do not want to see ZANU-PF continue because it is failing, and I'm calling other people to exercise Section 59 of the Constitution. This is what the charge says. You who speak here have done that. I who speaks here and writes articles, many of them, who speaks on different platforms, interviews, I have said the same thing, and that right should be protected. You can't start to come and then say, no, Tadini shouldn't have said that because doesn't he know that his political party is small? Only a large political party should have said that. No, Tadini shouldn't have said that because this prominent figure is not saying the same, yet it is the right thing. That is absolute, in my view, a disregard of the law and what it permits us to do and what it protects us from. Mazbabai Shanduko did not do anything wrong. Whether he was, even if Geza wanted to do what he was doing, Geza called for stayaways, Geza called for demonstrations, he still had the right to do that, even though I said I would not participate with him. There is nothing wrong with that. The same way, if Nelson Chamisa calls for a demonstration today, it's still within his right. If Elizabeth calls for a demonstration today, it's still within his right. We can't come and say, no, doesn't Elizabeth know that she's a woman and this regime is very brutal? She was not supposed to do that. That's what we're doing here. So unfortunately, I can't let that one flow. I can't let that one pass. It's misguided. Giga,
No,
please go
no.
ahead.
Can I respond? Can I respond?
No,
Because
you cannot until the other guys speak. We'll come back to you. We'll come back to you. We didn't come back to the other folks. Let's go to you. Don't worry, have patience. Other folks will interact with what you say, then we'll give you a chance to speak to it. I think I'd say Dobbs, then Gigi. Please go ahead.
Yeah, many things.
Dobbs, are you there?
Yeah, many things. I think we have to appreciate if people are doing something. It was very demoralizing comment made by Raspi after my Rasta in the, what is the other lady? I think it's the Matt Rice. Who tell us how they have contributed and other issues which needed to be, and how best we can help. But other people were just there to demoralize, to say, no, you are not doing anything, and we want to know who you are. That doesn't matter. As we are analyzing this, to say we need to assist each other, let's also try to focus to say, how can we stop this altogether? Because this is not a ZANU-PF thing. Something which have happened even during Rudisha time, to say charges were just being brought, but I don't see any change. To say one does something, and we need to focus to say the charge sheet, which is there, is inciting violence. It's not a new thing. It have happened to Jacob Ngarufu, to say he have incited violence, but there were no evidence. And it's something which is now continuing. To say, if we raise awareness to say this is what happened, let's use the Section 59, then they misinterpreted it to say we are now inciting violence. And I think we should then come to the conclusion to say what must be done for us to stop this. We have those whether it's the police or the courts, they must understand it to say this is what it is. There's no incitement of violence. And if there's no incitement of violence, nobody needs to be detained. And it moves like that. Because at the moment, it's really disturbing to some of us. Because we always talk about that Section 59 to say we are going to invoke Sections 59. And what happens? Maybe if somebody just get my phone and find out, because when you are arrested in Zimbabwe nowadays, the first thing they do is they will ask you password for your social medias, be it Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, and the phone, the handset itself. And if they find out to say I was speaking that, we are going to use Section 59 and then turn it to say you have incited violence. Is to say that we are going to invoke Section 59, it doesn't mean that I'm inciting violence. It simply means that we are going to demonstrate. And demonstrating doesn't mean always to go into the street. There are various ways of demonstrating. But now is disturbing. If this is now being taken to say you have incited violence and we are detained forever and ever. So we need also to zoom to say, what can we really do to stop it so that everybody must feel safe? Thanks a lot. I recede now.
Yeah, no, thank you very much for that one, my brother Dobbs. I think it is important also because when people start to analyze and then start to say, make things that are legal illegal, they are serving the purpose of the oppressor, whether they are doing it knowingly or willfully. I don't know, but you serve the purpose of the oppressor, and that's why I keep on also emphasizing what you just mentioned here. The charges put against these people are the exact same charges that all of you here can be charged with, myself included. If we were to permit and to start to justify such things, why did he say it, and why was he saying it from the camp here, Yagiza? Or why did he say it, and why was he saying it from the camp here, CCC? Why didn't he say it from my camp? The oppressor doesn't care which camp you're coming from. He's still going to come up with trumped up charges against you. Uchafanya phone ye 10,000, ye $10. Uchasungirwa izvozvo pamwe foni yacho hauna kutoipwanya because the oppressor is just doing what he does. So thank you very much. Gigi, please go ahead. Thank you. Gigi, your phone, yeah, definitely unmuted, but I can't hear you. I don't know if the other guys can hear you. Dobbs, can you hear Gigi? Gamu Grace. All right, I guess we cannot hear Gamu Grace. Tapio, please go ahead.
Yeah. I'm really, really worried. Because we pay taxes. We work in government with teachers.
So I can talk now?
We pay taxes.
Tapio.
Okay.
Tapio, I think she has figured out her connection.
Oh yeah, I had lost my connection.
That's what I done.
I think she's.
You can go ahead.
Okay. So I just want to. I really haven't been following a lot of the conversations that you guys were talking about, but I kind of want to come from the perspective of like revolution and what is it, resistance and all of that. The thing that I know is that if you don't learn from history, you're bound to repeat it. That's true. It's because if you look at all the revolutions that have happened in the world, the French Revolution, America came from revolution. All revolutions, as long as they are headed towards the right direction, if they are supposed to serve the greater good of the nation or the people who are revolting, they succeed. Always. That has always been the case. But in our case, I don't get it. Why is it that at every point where the opposition in Zimbabwe looks like it's about to win, it's like it is this momentum, it is all these supporters and everything, they are easily dismantled. ZANU-PF has always been able to dismantle the opposition. Why? Why is it like it's like they know something that we don't know? Why? Because it makes no sense. The other time when CCC lost, I was heartbroken because it didn't make sense. But at the end of the day, sometimes you kind of figure out that if you can't beat something, you join them. It looks like we are fighting each other, but we want the same thing. That's why there's all this confusion. It's like we want fair treatment. We want like access to our resources. We want this. That's the same thing that ZANU-PF wants. They don't want being oppressed by the people outside. That's the same thing. That's the same thing that also the opposition wants. But we are fighting each other instead of join them, revolt from inside, from within. That's how civil wars usually succeed, because at the end of the day, it's like you're fighting for the same thing. So you dismantle each other, you organize each other. You have to be one people. The opposition, it's like you're part of a hydra, because you cut off the head of the hydra, there's always going to be something. But you dissociated yourself from the hydra because you want to be this opposition. What are you opposing from the beginning? Like before all these the other things, the human rights violations, the whatever that ZANU-PF has been